What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Tuesday before Thanksgiving. That's all on our minds. A lot of us are off for work. This guy's off work. As you can see, Roger, he's also off work tonight. He is, first off, happy birthday to my brother Roger, but he is enjoying his birthday with his daughter. They decided to take him out tonight. So hope you enjoy your birthday, Roger. I think pretty sure he's probably listening in just to make sure I don't mess nothing up tonight. But so it'll be just us tonight. Y'all are stuck with me again, solo for another night. So I thought for a while about what we were going to do for a show tonight. And as I'm thinking about what we could possibly talk about, because there's 100 things that we could discuss. And as I'm thinking about tonight's show, I'm just kind of playing around. And most of y'all know that I just got these crimping pliers and the crimps, and I've been starting to crimp my rigs and do things a little bit differently. I start playing around, just playing around with different ideas and things like that. And I kind of come up with maybe that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Like some of the options with rigs, some cool stuff you can do that maybe you didn't know you could do, stuff you can create possibly. And hey, whatever else y'all want to talk about, we'll talk about it. Throw it up in chat and we'll discuss it. I'm an open book tonight. Just whatever y'all want. Doesn't matter to me. We go play around. We go have some fun. So before we get to that, we go say hi to some people in chat. First one I see in chat, bragging about it, I suppose, but he is first tonight. My boy Brian B. What's going on, Brian? And in second place, I know you're sad, but Stan 3, good to have you in the house, brother. John Boy's Catfish, what's going on, man? One of my Louisiana brothers. And another one of my Louisiana brothers, Big Wrench Catfishing. What's going on, Brian? Yes, happy birthday. Happy birthday to Roger. Happy 72nd birthday. I hope you enjoy it. Don't hurt yourself tonight. 922 Crappie Barbecue in the house. Wild Turkeys in the house. Let's see who else. We got Lance McCoo guy. What are my River Cat Tackle brothers? What's going on, man? Good to have you in here. Bugman 22. What's happening? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, look, it's turning cold over here too. At least my version of cold. I'm not gonna make anybody feel bad, but it's getting cold. David Smith, what's happening? Crappie Day fish on. Let's see. Let's come on down the line. Oh, well, chat always jumps on me. It always tends to do that. Let's see. Zach Murray. What's going on, man? Good to have you in here, Zach. Chucky, what's going on? Well, there's my wife. Hi, honey. She's like 20 feet that way in the next room. But yeah, hi, honey. She's here to troll me. She knows I'm doing a show by myself. So she's here to troll me and make sure I stay, I don't know, whatever it is. I can't think tonight. Dave Garcher, what's happening? Rowdy All. Stand 3. Art class with Creole tonight. We go do a little show and tell. Like I said, I just been kind of playing around with these crimps and, doing all kinds of weird stuff. And I don't know. I figure I'd show y'all what I've been up to. And it might inspire a few things. You never know. Missy Kennedy, what's going on? Curtis Cunningham. We got Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Been seeing that name a lot in everybody's chats lately. Welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you joining us. Fishing the Mid-South. What's going on, Mike? And there's Mr. John, River Cast Tackle himself, the man. You want some awesome deals on some Ancient Mariner stuff right now? I'm not legally allowed to tell y'all how cheap the reels and rods are right now. But if y'all private message Mr. John or send him an email, Rivercast Tackle, y'all going to find out about it. I know about it and I still don't believe it. It is incredible the deals they got going on right now. My boy Jerry, Parker Pursuits, caught another big fish that I happen to see a picture of. So Jerry's doing Jerry things, catching big fish. I love it. Cool Cats Fishing. What's going on, James? See, Mad Cat or Catfishing. Harold Bolton in the house. Mr. Don Johnson's in the house. Let's see here. Well, jumped on me again. You swear I've never done this before. Lyle, the man himself, Catfish Weekly. What's going on, Lyle? Good to have you in the house, bud. Greg Burtis, another one of my Louisiana brothers. Mike Greenwell, what's happening, brother? River Rat 3030, what's happening? LG Bass. Clearview Outdoors. All right, we got all the river warriors in the house, so y'all better tighten up. Someone asked about my hat and where to get it. What y'all are seeing right here, let me get it right close in the camera here. That is my Operations Vets with Nets hat. I do represent Louisiana chapter of that organization. And if y'all go to that website, which is, let's see, I can put it up on display for y'all real quick. There you go. That website right there, scrolling to the bottom, operationsvetswithnets.org. I can order y'all one of these hats. But thank you, honey. She's keeping me honest. I like it. River Chronicles. What's going on? We met him fishing with El Gato the other day. Good to have you in here, brother. Appreciate it. Uncle Jeep. Everybody's favorite troll, man. We can't do a show without Uncle Jeep. What's going on, man? Justin's Fishing Fetish in the house. How's it going? Let's see. Yeah, hey, Stand 3. Yes. Glad you like it, brother. Because look, it's some great stuff in there. It really is. There you go. Big Wrench throwing up also the vetswithnets.org website for all y'all to see. Okay. I think that covers everybody. And look, I apologize if I miss y'all. Like I said, I'm all by my lonesome this evening. So we'll say hi to everybody as they come in to make sure I see and I keep up with everything. So, like I said, rigs, crimping versus tying knots. Oh, look, I cannot forget about my OG broadcast brother. What's going on, Stan? Good to have you in the house, my friend. So, like I said, we were talking about rigs, tying knots versus going to crimps and all this stuff. Now, I will be the first one to admit two things. One, I personally never had a knot fail on me. I just never have. I used to tie polymer knots on everything, and then I would snell my hooks. I've never had issues with knots, so it's not because of a knot failure that I switched over. I switched simply because for me it's a cleaner and a faster way of doing things. It really is. And as I'm starting to, because I tend to just I get bored. I start thinking on my own, which is a dangerous thing sometimes. Trust me. Actually, anybody who knows me personally, me thinking is. So I start coming up with little ideas and like, hey, I've got these tools now. Can we do some different stuff? Can we, maybe create some things? Because I'm all about making stuff instead of buying it. Because normally you can make something a lot cheaper. You can buy it, right? Well, for those of you that know, and I do not have one. No, I do not. I thought I maybe had one sitting on my desk right here. But a Kirby rig. Everybody knows what a Kirby rig is, okay? Piece of wire, stiff wire, float in the middle. It's got usually some glass beads on it. Makes a lot of noise. People use that a lot, saltwater fishing, redfish, specks, things like that. Look, those things aren't cheap, right? They just aren't. And some people also use them like for floats on bumping rigs or dragging rigs and things like that. It's a useful tool. A lot of people know what a Kirby float is. Well, I kind of have my version of a Kirby float, but essentially it's made with, using the River Cats tackle gear and getting creative with my crimps. But this is what I came up with right here. Okay. And all this is 2 barrel swivels that I crimped on some 150-pound leader. And it's got a 2.5-inch oval peg float in the middle. And yes, I went on Amazon and I found me some purple beads. Yes, I have purple beads. The rattles are going to change color as soon as I pick up my next order from Mr. John. But right here, guys, I just took these that crimp and I made myself a homemade Kirby float. Call it a Creole float, whatever you want to call it. But now this right here, I can tie this in line on some dragon rigs. I've got that ready to go. I have got, I can put this on a bumping rig as a float. I can do whatever I want with this. So just something, something cool that I came up with. The name of my scales. I don't remember the actual brand name of my scales. I'll be honest. But if you go on Amazon and you search mini crane scale, a bunch of different ones come up. I've got the one that goes to 440 pounds. But that's all mine is a mini crane scale off of Amazon. I think I might have paid $40 for it, $42, something like that. Works great. And I think I see a lot of people in chat that's, I'm seeing very similar scales of a lot of people on YouTube now. I think a lot of us have gone to that because it'll weigh a fish bigger than 100 pounds. So we all have high hopes, I know I do. Oh, well, I guess first off, I can say hi to my dad in chat just before I time him out. But yeah, I guess, yeah, if you want to make this for, somebody's kid, a baby rattle, dad's keeping me honest. But like I said, just playing around with things, creating new things, kind of seeing what kind of different stuff I can do with the crimps now. Jeff B, what's going on, brother? Good to have you in the house. And this is something else that I did. Now, this is the first one I've made. Mike Irvin, what's happening, brother? First one I've made, and I tell you, I might maybe some more of these just to just to kind of check things out. Murillo, what's happening, brother? I actually made me a homemade 3-way swivel. And as you can see, I got a barrel swivel on each end, and I just took 2 beads and I trapped another barrel swivel right here in the middle, and I just trapped it with the crimps. I just tightened everything up. I'm backwards to where it tightened everything up. Basically, just made me a homemade 3-way, and this is all done with a 150-pound Andy line. I could go even bigger if I wanted to, and get 200-300-pound line, bigger crimps, and really make these things ultra strong. But I mean, guys, this is a 150-pound leader. If I break this, then hey. But like I said, this is stuff you can do, and the materials didn't hardly cost me anything. Okay, these pliers are the most expensive thing. They were $31. These are the Booms, I think CP4 crimping pliers off Amazon, and I bought a little $1 container from Walmart. But that's a little container to keep my 2 different size crimps. You get, I got, I think 200 of them for $10 for the crimps. So didn't really cost a lot of money to get into this stuff, and that's, hey, everybody's on a budget, right? So why not? But like I said, just sitting here playing around, doing rigs, tying up different cool little stuff. But like I said, why not? When you've got the tools to do it, why not? Yeah, and Stan's right. And hopefully, for sure, Friday, I'll be going out. Plan is to go live. I want to make 2 trips this weekend, being I'm off, because today was my last day at work. I don't have to go back till Tuesday. So I've got time. I'm making 2 trips. If I got to go by myself, whatever, so be it. We going fishing. I have not been on the river in over 2 weeks. It is time. I know for us here, I'm sure it's the same for everybody else. It's still dry. We did get a little rain, got a little bit of weather with the rain. Rivers are still very low. I'm having to kind of plan around that with my fishing trips, find the appropriate boat ramps to put in so I can get to where I need to go. It's always a struggle, because I'm trying my best to get to these places I want to fish, but the boat ramps that are close by, naturally, I can't use. So it's always a struggle of, can I get there? Can I actually get to the places I want to fish? That's been tough lately. Stan, I haven't been fishing with these yet. Not just yet. Like I said, these are tied with it's 150-pound Andy crimped, and it's good quality aluminum crimps. It's pretty much a low buck way of doing things, right? Okay, this is actually a very good question. What size crimps fit what size line? When I bought my crimps, it had a chart on Amazon that showed what size crimps to buy, and it fits certain mono. I can tell you now that these are, I'll see if I can show them, if my camera will pick it up without fuzzing it. Okay, right there. These are aluminum oval shaped crimps. Okay, they're not the double barrel. This is what they recommend for mono, just aluminum oval-shaped crimps, okay? And this one I'm holding in my hand is a 1.5 millimeter crimp. That's what I use for my 150-pound line. And the others that I have are 1 millimeter crimps, which that's measured by the inside diameter, just like you would a pipe. And those, they say it's from 80 to 100-pound line. And I can tell you that that's true because I use both. I use some 100-pound mono and some 80-pound, depending on what I'm doing or which one I grab. And the 100-pound fits extremely tight, and the 80-pound is still fits nice and snug, but you can tell it's a little more loose. So it's the one mil will do 80 to 100 pounds. But at the place I bought them, I said off Amazon, nothing fancy. It had a little chart that showed exactly what size crimps you need for what size mono. But that's what I'm using right now. And I can tell you the 80, the 100, and the 150. I tied a piece of line with a loop crimped on each end. I went out on my front porch, hooked it in one of my big hooks, and I just pulled on it with a piece of pipe till something broke. I broke probably 5 or 6 of each poundage of line. You know, no scale, no nothing, just pulled till it broke. And never once did it break at the crimp. It either broke dead in the loop that was hanging on the hook, or it broke right in the middle of the line. So every time the line failed and the crimp held. So that was all the confidence I needed that I was doing things correctly and to move forward with the crimps. Danny Stone, what's going on, brother? Good to have you in chat. We just chilling out. We just hanging out tonight. What's going on? Fishing for Whiskers. What's happening? Well, we hope you have a blessed Thanksgiving too. I know I will. I'm gonna eat good. We going to Dad's. He's cooking, and we go eat. That's for sure. Ernie Brown, what's going on, man? I sure hope you get to doing better. I know you're hurting now, so hopefully that eases up for you, my brother. We'll be praying for you just in case, because you know it's that it's that kind of night, right? Means we having a slow and easy night. We just sitting here talking. What I'm gonna do, just in case somebody wants to come up, talk about whatever. I posted I posted it twice, both channels, but I put the link right there in the chat. Hey, somebody wants to come up, talk about whatever, you got something to promote, or hey, if somebody wants to come up and we can look at a body of water that you've been looking at, hey, we can do all of that. So, like I said, it's a slow and easy show tonight. But while I was playing around, I was also, yes, Bobcat, yes. Beans, we're broadcasting this on Roger's channel. I'm going to say yes. Now, if we were doing this on my channel a little later at night, you know me, anything goes. Anything goes on that. It does not matter. But yes, Beans were on Roger's channel. Yeah. I mean, I know everybody's dying to see something like that. Chad, what's going on, brother? What's happening? Yeah, sure, man. I can show a rig. Let me see. I think I have everything I need sitting right here. Uncle Jeep, I'll be honest, I don't have pants on right now. Nah, just kidding. But I mean, hey, you can only see from here up. So maybe I don't. Right? Maybe not. That's what you don't know. That's the mystery of it, right? Bobcat, look, I'm not gonna lie. That's one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. I just about choked when you popped up in that chat, man. You are my hero. I'm not gonna lie. You were my hero when I did that. All right, so yeah, why not? Let's crimp a rig on camera, right? So y'all can watch me. Green screen, yeah, okay. I bet it is. So I'm going to go ahead and get me a couple of crimps and put them out in front of me right here. Kind of do something off to the side. I'm going to grab, what did I grab first? There we go. Andy, 80-pound leader line. Now, one of the things I like best about crimps, and that I personally struggled with tying knots, I'm a little OCD about things. I like all my rigs to be the same length. Whatever I decide to tie, I want them to be the same length. It'd be a little cold for that right now. It would be a little, but yeah, I mean, I see where you're going at. I like everything to be the same. And with knots, I could never get them the same. They were always, like this. And it always irritated me. The best part is with this, I can literally pick a spot on my table here, measure a piece of line out, and add an inch each side for the length for my crimp. And it's gonna be the same every time. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna tie one of my rigs that I like fishing with, right? So what I tie is I break off about 16 inches. Okay, 16 inches of line. I'm gonna go ahead and snap that off. Let's see. I'm gonna use one of these RCT 3-ways, which is a hard swivel with the beads in the middle and they glow in the dark. Now, this is how you do these crimps, okay? You got to start out with a piece of line, and make sure a good tip for this is when you clip it at a little angle. Don't clip it straight across. Leave like a little 45 or something in it. It makes it easier to go in the crimp, especially when it's kind of tight like these are. But you go ahead and you put your crimp on your line like this. And I'm going to slip my swivel on here. And then what I do, I leave plenty of end. Or to do that with that ring light shining in my face. Okay, so I'm gonna have plenty of line passing through the crimp. Now here's what I do, and I saw this on YouTube, and I'm fancy, but I got me one of these butane, but you can do this with a regular cigarette lighter. And I actually melt that end just a little, and I tap it on something. See how it flattens it out like that? Makes this little bulb on the end, and it's kind of flat. What that does, that's just that little extra prevention to keep that line from pulling through the backside of the crimp. So I just take it like this and I tighten it up. I don't tighten it up all the way. I leave myself a little slack. Then I just take it, find, just like a pair of pliers that you'd crimp wires with. You find the appropriate size for the crimp that you are using, which in this case is my center ones. Make sure the crimp is standing straight up in the pliers. See how the long side is going against the pliers like this? That's how you want to line it up. And also make sure that you have a little bit of crimp sticking out on both sides, okay? Because what you want it to do, and when we press it, we're going to show that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and crimp it up. Don't take a ton of pressure. Just put a little pressure on it. Must have hit a button. Okay. And what you want in the end, see how it's mashed? See how it's mashed, but it makes a little flare like on each side? There you go. Now you can see it good. That is a good crimp right there. You want that little flare on each end of the crimp. That way it doesn't dig into the mono and cut everything up. But that's the way I was shown to do it by a couple of saltwater guys on YouTube that I watched. And I'm repeating what they do. Go back and chat, make sure I didn't miss anybody while I was getting all this stuff ready. Okay, yeah, we're cool. So that's my one connection made. Now, what I do for my rigs, this is me personally, I actually add a second swivel in line. But what I like to do is I like to take 2 rattles with 2 beads and I put them on. So I'll take a rattle and a bead. Then I'll take another rattle, if I can get it in there. Okay. No, actually, Jerry, I don't. I know some people do, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't. That's why I make that little melt and that little flare on the end. I don't leave a tag on it. That's the way the saltwater guys do it. And if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. You can leave a tag. Nothing wrong with that. But that little bulb that I make on the end, even if the crimp would decide to slide, it's not going to let that line pull out of that crimp. What do you think about sealing in the hooks? Starting to do that more because I'm lazy. I don't know. You must have misspelled something. You lost me on that one, Bobcat. You may have to do a little clarification. Now, it's taken me forever to do this one, but yeah, I can tie a bunch of these rigs in no time with this stuff. So same thing. I got my crimp on my line. I got my big heavy duty barrel swivel. And I'm going to do the same process that I did before. I'm going to loop it through, push me plenty of tag through so I don't damage anything. I'm going to melt it, tap it on something, make my little bulb on the end there, and just pull it tight. Not real tight, just snug it up. And I'm going to press my crimp. And we're good to go. So that's the first half of my rig right here. Okay, I'm going to try to get to where y'all can see the whole thing. But I've got my three-way here. And I see I've trapped these rattles just ahead of this swivel. And y'all can see why I do that just in a second. Okay, but that's the first half of the rig right here. So next thing I'm going to do is, if I can grab the right spool of line, we're not using 150 on this one. I'm going to grab me another piece of line, about a foot, something like that. And these crimpers also have line cutters on them, and they work great. But also a pair of nail clippers, guys. A pair of nail clippers work great. I can cut that 150-pound Andy with just these little fingernail clippers. Works excellent. So next, I got to find me a hook. I know I got one somewhere on my desk. There you go. Use one of these RCT 12-aught offset circle hooks. Perfect. Now, snell knot. I know everybody has a little different way of doing their snell knot. I use the no knot snell. It has never failed me yet. That's what I'm going to do. Jerry, that's a good question. And as you can see, I'm fixing the snell. I will always snell my hook. I have tried using hooks that are crimped on instead of snelled, and my hookup ratio went down. That was with a straight hook, or especially these. You've got to snell these. You don't have a choice. Even with a straight shank hook, my hookups are better when I snell a hook. I am 100% absolutely snell a circle hook. For me, that's just what it's going to be. What's happening, brother?
Boom, boom, bam. What's up?
Oh, nothing. We just tying some rigs, brother.
And I saw that question about the crimping the hooks in. And
Yeah.
that, I'm like, all right. Something
I've
to talk
tried.
about.
I tried them. And look, y'all know me. I don't miss fish. I just don't. And when my hookup ratio goes down to 60%, no, not happening. So I can't say I've never tried it. So another little trick I do now, being as I have my lighter for my crimps, I'm also starting to do this also, especially when I tie with my big line, my 150. I burn that same bulb in the end of the line like this. Y'all can see it. So that makes that little bulb on the end. Well, what I'll do, watch. I'll show you a little trick I learned. See, you're still on screen. See, I don't have to just throw you out. See,
I got to get that all set up. I'm loving that.
That is actually one of the stock ones at the bottom of StreamYard. If you look,
even for the phones, right? You can even do it on your phone.
I think that one's on the phones. I believe it is. Yeah. So now that little bulb end is going to be back of this hook, and that's a little bit of extra prevention from that line wanting to walk out on you. But like this big hook, I'm just going to go 9 wraps. 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to pass my hook out of the front. Now, what I do with my snells, I know a lot of people have said that if you do this and put it in a baggie, that sometimes the line tends to like the snell will kind of work loose on you. I've never had that happen, but I'll tell you what I'll do with my snells. I'll wrap that thing around my finger once or twice, and I pull this snell, and you literally feel it like pop. That the hitch that goes over the top of the snell, it'll actually set and dig in, and you can kind of feel it pop whenever you pull it. Once you get that pop, it ain't going nowhere. I've never ever had one slip on me once I have done that.
Creole, I think that's the important part. People that have an issue with the no knot snell,
Yeah.
they're not cinching it down like you just did.
You got to put some pressure on it. You feel it, just that little tug, that little jerk it gives you. That's when
you're
you
a
know
big
you got
dude.
it.
You're a strong dude, and we just saw you put some force into that. So you
Well,
snug it in. You
you
snug
should
it
see
in
what it
there,
takes
and
to do it on that
it'll
150-pound test. You got to eat your Wheaties for that. So again, I'm going to burn my end. I'm going to burn my end. I'm going to cinch myself up right here. Good to go. We're going to crimp it. Now, like I said, I'm a lot faster doing this when I'm not teaching people how to do it. And that's it. My rig is now made. And this is why I'm trapping these rattles and these beads above this extra swivel, because it keeps it off of my hook. Okay, because I firmly believe that you do not want these rattles up against your hook. I feel that it affects hookups. I just do. And for me, this extra barrel swivel helps me in that stronger current with line twists when I use big baits and things like that. But this is my rig right here, and I'll use a clip right here to hang a weight off of. But 3-way, extra swivel with my rattles, and then there's my hook. That's my rig, and it's universal. If I want to run a 3-way, well, no problem. I'll tie me some 25-pound mono off of this, drop it down however length I want. Now it's a 3-way. Bumping rig, same thing, except this first piece of leader is usually 2 feet long. It's just longer. And the only difference is on my bumping rigs, I tie my sinker dropper in line with my main line, and this becomes the tag that my leader is off of. You have to swap positions for that sensitivity. Got to have your sinker dropper in line, just like this, because I've messed up and tied them backwards before. Trust me.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, oh yeah. I've tied on a bumping rig like, man, why can't I feel anything? I turn around and look, I'm like, especially when you do something in a hurry. You know what I mean?
Hey, we got Freddie.
I know there's other snell knots out there. I don't. That's the only snell knot I know how to tie. I'll be honest with you, is the no knot. And until it fails me, I'm not going to switch. Real simple. Size matters. What's going on, brother? Let's see.
Freddie's out there. FOA. Boom, boom, bam.
What's happening, Freddie? In fact,
those boards going.
I know. In fact, I put in a request for something. I can't say what it is on camera, because that will be a gift for someone that I know that may or may not be watching this chat. But Freddie sent me these a while back. These are his I forget what he calls them, but these are his J hooks.
Mm-hmm.
I could not help myself but to tie a few on some bumping rigs. I want nothing more than to just rear back on one of them big monsters and stick one of these in his face. I don't know. I want to. You know what I mean? It's going to make me feel good.
It's calling out to you, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
The bright bites.
It is. Because sometimes it's hard when you're bumping to sit there and just hold that rod and let him load up on it when you know he's there. When it's in a rod holder, it's one thing. But when you're holding it, that's a hard thing to do. Mark, what's going on, buddy? Good to have you in the house. Let's see who we're going to kind of get caught up on things. Uncle G. Tying a knot in on some of hooks, melting. Yeah, and what gave me that idea is, I forget a video I watched many moons ago. A guy actually tied a little overhand knot in the end of the line, then did his snell. That's what gave me the idea. I'm like, well, shoot, I've already got the lighter for my everything else. Why not make one more burn and make that little knob on the end, right?
That works great with the arbor knots too, for catching your line. Makes them that much stronger.
You don't have a shirt on.
I'm telling you good night.
I know. Hang on a second. Okay, he didn't have a shirt on. So, all right, bub. Good night. My son's going to bed. So, all right, there we go.
Stan 3 is saying extra tip wrap the first strap away from open end of the eye.
I think, I think I know what. I think I know what he's talking.
What he's saying on that eye, where the eye comes around, and as much as you try, there's going to be that little bitty gap. So when you wrap, you want that first wrap going to the. So if that's on the right hand side of the eye, you want the loop going. You want it going to the left. So that
Yeah.
first one is going to be touching the closed end of the eye.
That's right. Yeah. That's exactly. I know exactly what he's talking about. Now, you move it away from that little gap side to make sure. And I have a habit on that, and I don't even realize it. I guess I hold my hook a certain way, and I wrap my line a certain way. That way, no matter what, it always wraps it on that side. It's just, when you always do things the exact same way, you're always, now if you're wrong, you're gonna be wrong every time. But at least you're consistent. You always do things the same way.
Now, in FOA, Freddie's got some of the hooks that have that heat shrink that's at the bottom of the eye there.
Yeah.
So that actually prevents that. And that's great for cinching down. That'll also help, like we were talking about before with the no-knot snell. That'll cinch that no-knot down in on the hook also.
Let's see. Just like I keep you some Freddie hooks in my bag, just like this right here. That's what you're talking about right there, Stan.
Yep. That's it.
Yep, you got that little piece that covers that little gap. That way you're good.
That's the uppercut right there. I'm old school. I like that. I like the straight eye inline hook. That's just me. That's what I prefer. But
if a true circle hook does not have an offset. Yeah. A real honest to God circle hook, they are straight with non-offset, which will work very consistently every time. The only issue that you have to be careful of, especially with yellow cat, flathead, whatever else you want to call them, when they want to bite and just sit there and look at you, then you got to kind of figure out how you're going to get that hook in them, which I know Epic, we've all seen him do his Shaolin hook set. That's to try to make that hook go sideways and dig in that corner.
Right.
Right. But that's where an offset circle hook starts to kind of take up that gap, is you can still load a rod up. And that's when you see the offsets, pop out the top or something like that. They'll still find a way to dig in and get that fish.
And that's what's great about those. We just got that tackle pack in from River Cat Tackle, Mr. John Cyclone there. I had a pleasure talking with him the other night. Sat there probably for about an hour talking.
Oh yeah,
great dude to talk with. But anyways,
that's what you're talking about right there, Bobcat. Octopus style hook with an offset. Yep, that's the one.
Yep. Hey, and that's I'm old school, so that's what I prefer. But that big gap that you showed right there, I'm convinced that we have lost some absolute monsters on the FOA down rods because it just came up. It didn't go to the side. It just kind of came up, launched down on it, and went back. Well, you get that tooth pad on I don't care if it's a monster blue or a monster flathead. How does Epic describe it? Where it's as big as your wrist.
Oh yeah.
And it can't get around it, and it's going straight back. Well, the hook can't get in there, and you end up missing some of them like that. So I know that we've missed some monsters like that.
I've had that happen to me, and I know, Stan, y'all suspend a lot. I know you've seen this happen more than once, where you get used to the visual of the rods being loaded up. Then all of a sudden, you look at one rod, it's straight. Like it ain't got no load on it. You're like, oh, you start reeling. That fish hit it and come up with it. And you're sitting there trying to catch up with him. Essentially, you're pulling the hook straight out the front of his mouth. That's a hard hook up to get. It really is. To me, that's probably one of the hardest situations to get a good hook up on a fish, is when they hit a suspended rod and come up with it.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of that coming up, I would say your active fish, 90 whatever % of the time, they prefer to feed up. They prefer to feed up. It's much easier for them to go up than to bring their body down onto food like that. So that's why your spooks, your Kirby rigs, your floats, et cetera, your down rods, suspending rods.
Yep.
That's why all that works so well, is because that bait is up off the bottom. It's putting more scent out there, and it's a natural, especially flatheads. I mean, man, look at flatheads. if they're not
They
designed to scoop
they
up and
are.
eat, man.
They're designed to feed that way. And anybody who's bumped for more than about 5 minutes knows what it's like to just be bumping along, bump, 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 and all of a sudden, why can't I feel bottom anymore? Then you start reeling up and that's why the fish hit it and just comes up with it. My rule is if I go to tap 3 times and I don't find bottom, I'm reeling. And half the time it's either you're hung or you got a fish. It's 50-50 on which one it is, and you find out pretty quick.
That is the next technique that we are mastering. We've gotten the everybody, you start with anchored, and then we did the drifting and the dragging. One of my favorites is suspend drifting. We were talking about that the other day. I like to do it a lot of times where it's almost like bumping. What'd you say? You used to call it reverse bumping, I think you used to call it, or
yeah.
where you had it in your
Basically,
hand
when
and
you're pulling yourself along and kind of bumping behind the boat.
yeah.
Yep. And look, and as far as because I've got, well, technically I've got 3 different brands of bumping rods right now. Pretty much from budget to way out of budget, but doesn't matter. I got me one anyway. But as far as a budget setup goes, and I have caught a ton of fish on this very setup, is my little B&M bumping rod. You can still get these things for like $65-$70. It's a great rod, extremely sensitive. And right here, this Akuma Convector bumping reel, I think they're 110 right now. Places at Tackle Bandit, you can get them on Amazon and stuff. And if somebody's wanting to really get into bumping but on a tight budget, this little setup right here will get it done. I mean, I know a lot of guys who bump with the B&Ms. I think Mike Greenwell to this day still uses B&Ms. I have them as secondary and third rods. I've got an Uncle Lou bumping rod, which is incredible. I love my Uncle Lou rod. I've got a Black Horse on the way. Kind of not fair to compare a production rod to a custom rod. So I'm not going to it's not fair to compare to that.
No matter what. And especially a custom rod by somebody that pretty much designed a custom rod. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're not talking just a custom rod. You're talking pretty much the custom rod. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to say Richard put a low profile reel, the same low profile, on one of Freddie's FOA rods, a 6-footer, and makes a pretty decent little bumping rod in a pinch. It's because of the blank construction, it's sensitive enough. Using a little heavier weight like we have too, you could definitely get by with it if that's what you already have.
I tell you what, people, the Freddie rods, the 5 and the 6 foot, as far as suspending, I think hands down best one out there for that. But they're pretty they're pretty good utility rods. You can use them in just about, are you going to get as much distance as Danny's 16-foot Black Betty? No, it's not going to happen. But
obviously, but that's the thing. You can't look at that little rod and let the looks fool you into thinking it won't hold a bunch of weight and handle a bigger fish. We've hung some pretty decent sized fish on ours, and y'all have caught some monsters on y'all's, and it'll handle them no problem. They got a ton of backbone on those rods. They really do.
Yeah, I think Stand 3, the first day out testing them, got a couple of 60s.
Oh,
It's not a 70 on the first day he was out there.
Absolutely not. I'm not letting you. I'm going to let you look at it. I might let you touch it. No, ain't nobody bumping with that rod but me. I got bad news for that rod is a little too pricey for it to leave my hands. That's just how it is.
I did get to catch the first fish on our new the Mad Cats Patriot rod that we won.
That carbine. Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
I've heard great things.
It was the first of first. When do you ever take out a brand new rod and it's the rod that gets the bite, catches the first fish? I mean, that never happens. Usually it's got that new rod jinx, and it was like a 18-pounder, I think. So great way to break the rod in.
Oh, absolutely. You got to get that good brand new raw juju off of it. McWhiskers Fishing, what's happening? Welcome, Miss Ashley Brady. What's happening? She had an awesome live the other night, paying tribute to her grandpa, playing music, taking requests, and some good music too. Stan, you'd have loved it.
Oh
Some
man,
good
I missed
classic
it.
stuff. We had some Credence going on. It was a
Did
good
she
time.
did she sing? That's what I want to know, because she can sing.
Yes, she did, and I tell you, I like
Yeah.
it. So if the fishing thing don't work out, hey, she's got a future at it. I'll tell you that.
I
Like
would
me,
agree.
if the fishing thing don't work out, I ain't singing. That ain't happening. No, not for me.
Yeah, and that was the veterans tournament. That was pretty cool for me because both my grandfathers
Yeah.
passed, and so that was kind of we were out there for them, and that kind of was a special. That was kind of a special day for us.
Now, okay. Now, you see, I wish I would have known that because you would have had my address a long time ago. But Mark says if he doesn't catch a fish on a new rod in 3 trips, he gives it away. We need to talk. See, what you need to do is you need to go ahead and just send it to someone else. Let them get that first fish on that rod, and then send it back to you. Like, here, okay, it's caught a fish. Here you go. It's up to you now. You can always do that, right?
That's right. That's right. And I got the Pisky Fun Chaos 60 in from Roger from that same one. I
Yeah. So
like that. I like them. They're not Stan 3's favorite reels. I like them. I like them a lot. But
if you're not asking to do heavy duty things, it's a great reel.
that's
It's a
the
great
same thing.
reel. It won't.
That's
Look, no reel will survive everything. I'm telling you right now, no reel will survive everything.
He says, "You can keep that. Give me my Penn Squalls, and I'll be happy."
Yeah, yeah. Now I am soon. Come this Christmas. I don't own any yet, but I will. Now that I've held them in my hands, I'm gonna get me a couple of the Ancient Mariners, and we're
Well,
gonna now. I'll be going for the 7,000, not the 6,000. And we're gonna put them to use out there. I know Mr. Johns has been using them. They really like them.
and on that note, nothing can be mentioned, but you need to get, if you're thinking of buying something, check out River Cat Tackle. They got that in. Talk to John.
Talk to John. I mean, he told you what the deal was, huh? So you know that it's crazy.
Like I said, we talked for about an hour and change after. Great,
Yeah.
me, Creole. If someone talks catfishing,
Well,
I can
yeah.
sit there and talk to him, and man, it was
Of
awesome.
course.
So, and he's what I liked about him is he's like we are. He's like Freddie is. He's like he wants to put good stuff in people's hands, and
Well,
that's
yeah, of course.
that's what it's all about. So
We're being tasked with an assignment there, Stan. You seem to.
I see that. I see that.
Hey, we can we can take a look. We got a little time. We can take a look.
And that brings up a point there. Don't think that you don't ever get too comfortable in thinking you know every single spot on even on a little small stretch of river that you fish all the time.
I know,
Because
right?
the big fish we caught in the big fish that we caught in the veterans tournament was a spot that we have fished that stretch of river hundreds of times, and we just hadn't fished maybe a 50-yard stretch just up from where we normally fish, maybe 50, 70 yards up from where we always fish. We've never fished in this corner for some reason. And Stan 3 was looking at Navionics and said, "Man, how did I never see this before?" Found a little, there's a point there. There's a creek that's just down from it. There's depth. There's a hole. So
there we go. See now that I've got my dual monitors back in my little studio here, now we can do some stuff. Y'all ain't gonna see that craziness that I had in that hotel room that night. We can roll now. I'm doing the good stuff. All right, now Stan, you got to forgive me for this, but I want to make sure that I'm actually looking at the James River, okay? Because I don't know exactly where it is. I see Richmond.
You go see that? Yep. Just you can start up there by Richmond, right there. If you zoom in by Richmond, which is pretty much the center of that circle right there. That is
Okay. Kind of
right where
move it.
Richmond is. That's what we call the fall line. So that is the upper end of the Tidal James, right there where you're at. So
Gotcha. Okay, I see it.
so
All
downriver
right.
from
So
there is all
from
tidal.
here, where we're going?
We're going downriver.
We're going down river towards the ocean.
Well, start at Dutch Gap. Okay, so go down 90. See the Highway 95 right there? Yep, just
Highway 90.
pull your screen straight north. You're heading south. We're heading south. So pull
Okay, heading
your
south.
screen north so that we're heading
Yeah, I
south.
got you. Yeah, we're heading south. Okay.
And keep going.
Okay.
You're gonna come across the bridge. Keep going. You got a little bit of time.
Okay. I can. Well, what I can do, I
That's
can
what we
zoom
should
out.
actually. He should have actually came up here.
I know, right? All right.
There's
the 895
that.
bridge.
That is 895. Now Dutch Gap is just over here to the southeast of that.
Okay.
Around the bend. Now there's a straightaway. Then there should be Osborne Landing coming up here.
See something called the lily pad. I don't know what a lily pad
Yep.
is.
Lily Pad. That's at Osborne Landing. That's a bar that they put in there, bar and restaurant. Okay, now you
Gotcha.
see, there's Dutch Gap. All that the factory there at the bottom on the south end.
Okay,
Now
all
that
this
pit
down
right
here.
there,
Okay.
there's the pit that we do some fishing in there when it's the right time.
Okay, Dutch Gap boat ramp. Okay.
There it is.
Let's see. I'm just trying to kind of glancing back in chat, make sure I don't miss anybody.
Now,
No, Brandon, you're not. That's not on this computer. Nope, you ain't gonna see none of that. That's not on this computer. That's on my other laptop. So thank you very much.
I've been trying to switch back and forth in both the chats, but
Watch. Let me just in case Stan 3 wants to come on up and show me this in person. I'm gonna put this back in chat once again because you know he's watching.
oh, he's always watching.
So I think what he's talking about is he wants, like, without any, I just want to know what stretch y'all normally fish. And I think he wants me to look at it and pick out where I would fish with no other knowledge of the area. I think that's what he's trying to, yeah, because he's saying right here, don't influence him where we would fish.
Okay. Now I'm getting the gist of
I see he wants me to look at it with a fresh pair of eyes, basically. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna back it on up. I want to find me a map that I like that shows me what I want to see.
you can always come up here to the studio. So
it doesn't change all that much from map to map. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go with this one because I just like it. It's from 2019. Okay, that's the one we're gonna show. So, all right. Let's see. I'm going to assume in Dutch Gap is kind of where y'all like to be. Now, the current, like in this picture here, is moving like from left to right, correct? Like it goes towards the ocean.
From left to right, yes. Well, on the outgoing tide, yes.
Yeah, see that's another thing that's going to throw me for a loop is the whole outgoing tide thing. That's not something I'm used to the current going always the same direction.
And quickly.
Yeah, and quickly. Yeah, that's another thing too. I mean, immediately something that stands out to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong in thinking this way. I'm going to treat incoming and outcoming tide the same way that I would treat a rising river would be an incoming tide, falling river would be an outgoing tide.
Yep.
So am I correct?
Our normal every 6 hours is say 3-ish feet, and on when the big moons and stuff, you're looking at a 4 foot. It'll come up 4 foot and then go back down. So every 6 hours. So
am I correct to assume what's going on, Palmetto? No, it's not a rerun. At least I don't think it is. I'll check and see. I don't think it's a rerun.
The time machine, I was saying there might be a time machine Friday night. Well, look at it. Just showed up. It showed up on Tuesday. That's all.
Yeah, I know, right? So am I correct to assume that an incoming tide would push water up these
Yes.
little creeks and up in these pits, and an
Yes.
outgoing tide would kind of draw some water back out of them?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yep.
immediately I know for me on my river, when the river is falling and it's pulling water out of these side channels, out of these little bays and stuff like that, these mouths for us become very, very productive when that happens, because it's pulling bait, it's pulling these things out of these areas. So that I would say, now you said it's on a 6-hour switch.
Yep.
Normally for us, you got to wait 10, 12 hours or so, because it might pull water out of mine for a month, depending on what the river goes.
Yeah.
You've got a switch that's going back and forth. So I would say when it begins to fall, when the tide begins to come back out, I would love to be set up at some of these mouths like this and like this here, and set up and be prepared to spend some time on that outgoing tide. Maybe, especially if you know there's bait all back here. For an example, if you know this is chock full of bait, maybe it's a shallow flat or something, that you're set up right here in this mouth with some bait spread out. When that outgoing tide really kicks and it's pulling out of there, I find it hard to believe some fish wouldn't be in this mouth area here, or possibly this one, depending on where the bait is at, waiting to ambush things that are coming out of that mouth. I know that's definitely that would be a thing that I would be looking at to start off.
Well, that last mouth, that the not out of the lake, but out of the creek coming out there, out of the oxbow right there. That's where we caught that last kicker fish in the veterans tournament.
Yep. See, there you go. That's a big thing for me on an outgoing, because for me an outgoing tide is the same like a falling river. When it starts especially when it's been up for a while, it's flooding some of those backwaters, and man, a hard drop and it sucks that water back out. Because for us, especially when it's flooding in an area that has a lot of trees, when the water's coming back out of those trees, it tends to be cleaner water than what's in the river to begin with. And especially the yellowcat, they love that cleaner water, and it makes a little bit of a mud line where it comes out of the river. They love that situation. So if y'all got these areas here that high tide is pushing up into some trees and the low tide brings it back out, that's definitely something I'd be looking for, because that's extremely successful for us.
Now, right there, that three-way, I see Parker's talking about that. This the three-way where it's going straight down south. Or I guess that's technically a four-way there, but where that's going straight down south, that goes back. Yep, and then it opens up, and then there's sort of like lagoons back there, and that goes all the way back around to. It used to be in the wintertime, that was great back there, because that was the cooling fields for the where they say the mayor's house, and that factory over there is Dominion Power. It's a power plant. So that's where that hot water discharge in the wintertime, they used to pump the hot water after it went through the cooling fields, but it didn't cool it down enough. So you know how things go. Then there was the whole environmental blah, blah, blah. And so now they redid the whole field. So now they really don't, that water doesn't get hot enough that it affects it like it used to.
Because now there's regulations that the differential of the temperature of that cooled water can't be more than a certain amount than the natural water. They got to cool it down to within, like, I don't know, it's like 5 degrees or something like that. Something crazy.
Yep. So a lot of people didn't realize that was one of Stan 3's big that was one of his big things back there, because it's super shallow. So people think, it's wintertime. It's, water temperatures under 40 degrees. There's not going to be nothing in 4 foot of water. Yeah. But when you get all the way back there and it's shooting 70-degree water out into that.
And another thing that kind of jumps out at me in certain situations. Okay. Cause I love points and I love confluences, right? Well, it seems to me on an incoming tide, I bet you it makes a nice little current seam hooking off of this point just like that. If it's strong, because that incoming tide is going to push in here, and this current seam is going to kind of do this and lap around, possibly make an eddy right here if it's strong enough.
And
it seems to me on an incoming tide, this is interesting to me. But then on an outgoing tide, you've got the same situation, but over here off of this point. That outgoing tide should pull off of here and make a seam this way with possibly a little bit of a back current coming around right here, depending on strength of current. That's the one wild card that I don't know is how much current it makes.
It's definitely, that's one of the spots where you can pretty much find current most of the time.
just a matter of, because to me, depending on if it's incoming or outgoing, depends on which point I'm going to check, because one's going to make a current seam and the other one won't.
Stand 3 is telling me, shush, Padre, shush. But just a little bit of history right there. You see that straight right where we were talking about at the one and the other, that's man-made. That's a man-made channel when they started because of when they started doing the shipping and stuff. So they didn't have to go that miles all the way up around that big loop there. They made that zoom. And it's just narrow and deep.
Well, and you can see the effects of straightening the channel, because this is the same thing that the Mississippi River does, but on its own accord.
On its own, right?
It'll straighten a curve, and look what's happening to the old channel. It's starting to silt in. You can see it on this map. How it's starting to silt in, and eventually it's going to completely silt in one side that doesn't get the flow. So that's exactly what the Mississippi River does. Same thing. What's going on, Monty? Good to see you in the house, brother. Got fishing fever in the house. I got fashizzle in the house. I'm trying not to miss anybody. I know we're all getting wrapped up in the science of things here.
But, and it's just like anything else. Even when there's all those good areas, or what appear to be good areas on here, that's why you'll hear everybody say, you hear us check navionics first, check this first. It's starting points, because then you get on the actual water and you'll see that really isn't doing what I thought it was going to do because of XYZ. Yeah. There's something in the way, or there's something that's not there. And let's face it, rivers change all the time. You get a good flood and there's something that it can change your contours quickly in rivers.
Yeah, absolutely. I know for me personally, I've got a lot of good spots, but there's no such thing as a spot that's good all the time. No such thing. What I've tried to do over the years is pay careful attention of what's going on when I catch fish. Why did I catch fish in that spot? Why were they there this weekend and not there last weekend? What's going on, Roger? Well, I sure hope you enjoy your birthday with the kiddos. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Enjoy your 83rd birthday. I hope
Come on now, Creole. He's only 77 today.
He's like 6 months older than me, but I still pick on him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're practically the same age, but that doesn't matter to me. It doesn't even matter.
I got all the stuff in, Roger, from the Veterans Tournament. Got the reel. Thank you, brother.
Awesome.
And we signed up. We have officially signed up with we've got the what do you call it? The form in, just waiting on Operation Vets with Nets to contact us.
Good. We'll
be official members here pretty soon.
So I imagine this spot. I kind of moved on down to the next. It looks like they did that a lot in the James River. They actually man-made these cuts, like to cut these bends off. So now essentially, y'all are fixing to have a bunch of oxbow lakes on the James River. That's what y'all going to end up with, because that's what these are making essentially is oxbow lakes. And it's kind of the same thing here. Depending on if you got incoming or outgoing current, it depends on which point is going to set up a current seam for you and possibly hold some bait, hold some fish. As y'all can tell, current seams are a big part of the way I fish, because they catch me fish. It's just as simple as that. Big, especially big current seams. I love mud lines. I love where two different pieces of water come together and make a mud line. I catch a lot of bait in those areas and I catch a lot of fish. It's great for me. Certain situations set up these mud lines. And I can tell you from
Absolutely.
experience on the Mississippi River that when you have oxbows like this, which this is what you got, you've got an oxbows, right? Well, when it rains and you get a lot of rainwater back in these oxbows because they tend to be a little shallower, a falling river, or in this case, an outgoing tide, when it's going to want to draw some of this water out of these oxbows back into the main channel, I would think that it would set up a mud line right here. Let me get my mouse right here. I would think it would set up a little bit of a mud line similar to what we see when it pulls the water out of the oxbows and out of those little side buys and everything. Is dirtier water is going to be back here in the oxbow, and your main channel is going to tend to be a little more clean. So when it pulls and makes this current seam, it may actually make you a little mud line off these points. I'd be real curious to know if that phenomenon actually happens.
And well, what you can see there that we have a lot of and that we like to use a lot is we have a lot of shallow flats and ledges.
Yes, you do. You got a ton of them in there.
And like I said, not all of them are created the same, and that's where the trick comes in, is finding out which one's working when and why the fish are there when they're there.
And I see why now that y'all have all these shallow flats. Is for the same reason why when the river gets really low, our oxbows, some of them, or secondary channels almost run dry because they don't get the main current anymore, so they tend to silt in. And it makes these big, shallow, long flats on these abandoned channels.
And up there, we're talking 100 miles from over 100 miles from the bay up that way. So we're still a good distance down to. Now, right there is that's where the Appomattox comes in. That's the Appomattox coming in, where you hear people talk about Hopewell.
Yeah.
It's right there underneath that bridge. Hopewell boat launch is underneath that little bridge, and actually in the mouth of the Appomattox.
And this is interesting because you can actually see the graphic on screen of where your main channel is and what your current does. You can see every seam line, every back eddy, every mud line. There is I could talk all night about this spot, just this, because you can physically see every little thing, every little churn in the water, every eddy. You can see everything just because of how the water is dirty. It's amazing.
And this is why you want to be when you go. This is a pretty big section of the river here. This is miles across.
Yeah.
And you would think, oh man, this river's huge. Well, this little channel that's running here. I am pointing at the screen.
I know, right?
Where it says Old City Point, you can see that channel runs right there by. That's some deep and fast water right there. That whole channel through there. What do you think, son? It's 30s to 40-foot deep.
Yeah, basically right here, essentially the darker the water, the deeper the water.
Right.
That's essentially what I'm seeing right here. But if you really look carefully, and I know y'all have probably sonared the heck out of this area. Okay, so I'm going to test myself here. I'm going to try to pick out where I think some holes and features are on the bottom, and you just tell me if I'm right or wrong. But just by reading that water, I can already tell you that. In fact, I'm trying to line up my mouse. I can already tell you that you see behind this island where it makes this swirl right here. I would bet you anything that's a little bit of a deeper cut in that shallower water, like right behind this island where this current runs around. This is pretty deep through here, through this spot, because you see how it necks it down. I think here along this side, a little bit to the left of the main channel, so that comes and it wants to make this swirl right here. That's telling me that you've got some kind of a big change in the ledge. I'm thinking the ledge gets steep right through here, and then it kind of lays down and flattens out. That's why this water is kind of wanting to churn around, because it's trying to scoot around that outside where that ledge flattens out. So you've got a little bit of a shallower ledge here, but it's deeper here, and then it deepens back up right here, coming around this side. And then over here, behind this island, it kind of does the same thing. The island is actually way bigger than what it looks like. The island actually extends way out here because you can see way back here, the current is finally swirling around the back side of it and coming around. That just goes to show you that there's more to that island than what you can see above the water. And it's going to make a little cut behind that island because you can see where that water is coming around and making that eddy on this side. So it's got some real interesting stuff going on right here. So how close am I to what it actually looks like in there?
Pretty dang close. Pretty close.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah. You can tell a lot by looking at this stuff. You really can if you pay attention.
Yeah, and like Stand 3 is just saying, pretty much that whole side, on once you come down from City Point there, where we were just saying, there's got that channel right there, and then where you're talking about that island, that over there, that whole thing is pretty much just a huge mud flat.
Yep.
There's times where it's less than a foot deep. So where people get in trouble is they see this 3 mile wide section river and the water's going, and they try to go from running out of Hopewell here, and they try to shoot straight across up to that bridge over there, and man, they can get in some serious trouble. You get stuck out in that mud flat. Now, if you've had your lines in there and you know what you're doing, you can sneak through just where you can see where it's that little darker and lighter.
Funny. It's funny he mentioned shipwrecks, Dan. I just found 2 of them. Yeah.
What shipwrecks? What shipwrecks?
Yeah, what shipwrecks, right? What shipwrecks? You mean like, let's see, like those 2, and you got a piece of one here, you got another one here. You mean, does Stan 3 want me to point out any more of his spots, or do we need to be looking at something else? But this is just goes to show you, I have never seen this water. Stan didn't really point me this direction. I'm just looking, and I haven't even swapped up the map to see what else I can see. This is just on the same view I was on earlier.
We're not even to the big water yet. Like this is Hopewell and up. When I'm sure you've heard people talk about the James River. They talk about Hopewell and Jordan Point. Well, that bridge that we just went past, that's Jordan Point. So that's downriver from Jordan Point is where they typically consider the big water.
Yeah.
And you can see why.
Y'all got a very, very, very interesting stretch of river to deal with here. There's a lot of stuff. And what throws me for a little bit of a loop is the fact of the tide. Incoming, outgoing tide. It just, for me, it's it changes things a lot for me trying to look at where am I gonna fish, because me, like I said, I'm used to going the same direction, so the fish always set up the same way on my structure. They always set up the same way because the current's always going the same way. Well, for y'all, it's not like that. They could actually swap from side to side.
But they do set up on the same way, like on the outgoing tide, they'll set up.
You just have to keep track of which one you got to fish according to the tide.
Yep, and you nailed it pretty much before when you were talking about. You said, okay, when it's going to be an outgoing tide, I want to be set up here ahead of time.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much you're always on a. Okay, it's about to slow down here.
You're always on a clock.
We need to be over here to hit that before that starts moving out. Yep. And but those shipwrecks,
if that's the case.
Like you just said, those shipwrecks and everything like that, everybody knows those spots because they're so visible. They're even visible just by driving past them. So you all had a great. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, shoot, we can sit here and look at them off of Google Earth, and we know they're there. So so everybody knows they're there. But hey, like, look, let's just say somebody like me, I have never even been anywhere close to the James River in my life, and I decide I want to go spend a week and go fish it. Well, you know what? I can get on this map and just start looking at this stuff and saying, well, hey, I see this, I see that, I see that. I can at least start narrowing down some of these areas and eliminating water and saying, nope, that instead of just riding around in a boat for 2 days looking for this stuff, I can start eliminating these things while I'm sitting here and not waste time.
And then that's when you can go to people. People are much more willing to help you out if you say to them, "Hey, I looked on Google Maps, and is it this section? What's happening here in this section? I don't want your exact coordinates." And people get kind of,
Yeah.
because there is only, especially a river like this. There's a lot of people that fish it, and there's only so many. I don't want to say spots because it's not that you got to match your conditions and etc. But if you're asking generalized questions, people are a lot more willing to kind of point you in the right direction than say go to I was gonna say mile marker, son of a gun, the channel marker 145, and XYZ. There's uh uh that's where we go to sit.
Yeah.
But
I doubt you're going to get many people to say, hey, go here, throw your anchor here, throw this bait in this hole at this time. And yeah,
but if you've got
you're
a
not really going to
general
get that.
you got a generalized idea of where some things that you want to check out, and you can talk to people that fish the area, they're more than willing to kind of point you in the right direction, especially if you're asking generalized. Is it like hey, what's happening in the Dutch Gap area? Have you been finding bait there? Things like that.
I'm looking now. I was looking at what Palmetto said. I guess he was maybe joking, but now I'm being serious about he wants me to look at the Cooper River and tell him where to fish. And I'm trying to find it based on not knowing anywhere close to actually where it is. I remember him saying something about Lake Marion. And I think if I remember hearing them talk, that the Cooper River actually connects Lake Marion to the coast, maybe, or something like that, or Lake Moultrie to the coast, or something like that.
You're halfway right. You're right on track. Think of well, do you know anything about Lake Kerr and Lake Gaston?
No, not a thing. Only
right.
that oh look, Cooper River. There we go, Cooper River. There we go. I knew just from hearing them talk sometimes I do retain a little bit. I do. Now and then I listen. I do retain some stuff. Now you see Palmetto, I'll watch what I'm gonna do here. Let me put him on the spot real quick. Yeah, that he's driving, one or the other. But I'll put you on the spot here. If you want to come up and describe it to me in person, I'm willing. I may allow you to come up on the panel. I'm just saying, just throwing that out there. But okay, so there's the mighty Cooper River that I've heard so much about. I see a bridge. What bridge is that? 52, Highway 52 bridge, I think. Am I reading that right? Yeah, my contacts are all. Now, I don't know what stretch of it he fishes. That's the only thing. I see, obviously, there is a dam. Ooh, I like a dam. You know me. I love a dam. I see a dam.
I wish we had more dams here. We don't really have dams to fish here.
Oh, look at him. Look. You see what you can accomplish when you use a little bit of peer pressure? You see what you can accomplish?
What's up, guys?
A little bit of peer pressure goes a long way, don't it?
Oh, I'm excited. I need to learn how to fish.
Hey, I need to learn how to go fishing and not stay at the house because it's
my
cold.
Wife right there.
Hey, that's the boss.
Hello,
that's
Anna.
The boss right there.
I just cooked some awesome tacos, so she's happy.
Oh, well, I'm not happy because I didn't get to have any. So
sorry, fella.
I know you're not. All right, so of course I see a dam. So of course that draws my attention. Obviously,
yeah,
there's a dam right there. But what stretch are you talking about fishing? What's your home area here?
So I mean, our river's not that long, so all of it is, but that area right there from the dam all the way down, keep going down to that first bend, that's the tail race. And a lot of people think, oh, there's a dam there. That's where all your fish are going to be. It's only like 12 foot deep the whole time.
Yeah, and look, even as good as the dams I fish, they're not there all the time. They're not.
I've never caught anything big there ever. And the best thing about the dam is in like January, February, you can catch a lot of river or American shad and river herring. But I was live the other day, so if you keep going way down south.
Holy smokes, there is actually bends in that river.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of them.
So right there.
Okay.
So you see all those little houses right there where it says Pimlico Community Center?
Yes, I see that.
So you see all that bluish water right there on the sides of the main channel? Those are the rice fields.
Gotcha. Oh, I've heard you talk about that before.
Yeah. So those are about a foot deep.
I can see that.
So here's a good part. You see off to the left, off to the right, where it says Cooper River, and then there's a green islands right there.
Yeah, I see that.
That's the shell cracker spot. Don't tell
nobody. Giving away you fixing to see a shoe come flying across that room because he's gonna swing it at him. Giving away her spot. Like look Freddie.
Yeah, so if you go back north, this zoomed in like this.
That's funny.
All right, right there. So, or go back south a little bit. See, that's Mebkin Abbey. When we talk about Monk's Corner, where I'm from, that's why it's called.
Okay, I got you. Now, see, earlier you were talking about the rice fields. Now, this is my dad joke for the night. I promise I won't tell another one. But you know how you truly tell a true Cajun from an imposter? That he can look out in a rice field and tell you exactly how much gravy it would take. Okay. That's it. I'm done. No more, I promise.
Let raw.
I had to get one in, right? I had to get one in.
So go south just a tad bit where you can barely see Mebkin Abbey. So right here on this bend, right there. So where it says Cooper River,
gotcha.
To the right to the right of it is where I caught my PB, right there along that river channel.
Okay.
And so what you can't see is there's a bunch of logs and stuff that pile up right there. But I was live there right on that edge on yesterday, and I missed one. I mean, it squealed drag for like 15 seconds, and I picked up the rod and it was gone. But that's the river channel.
Okay.
But if you go down a little bit more, you'll see one more area that I fish a lot.
About how deep is that stretch through there?
About 30 foot. Well, 25
really?
foot. So you see that train trestle right there? If you zoom in on that.
I do. I think I've seen you pass under that trestle before, if I remember right.
They're right there. If you go under it going upriver, right there on the right, not that far, like I fished the trestle.
Okay, I got
on
you.
The right of it, when you pass up under it, I caught a 30-pounder there yesterday.
Okay, you see, I'm gonna kind of treat this the same way like I told Stan, because it's obvious on the image here that at certain times. Now, is this all tidal through here too?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so obviously I'm going to look at it the same way. If you've got an incoming tide and it's pushing water out in the rice fields, and then when the tide goes out, I would bet you anything this picture was taken on an outgoing tide, because you can physically see the water being pulled out of here, and that's extremely productive for us. I find, especially during the spring, for some reason the yellowcat love hiding in that outcoming water, but out in the channel, they love those areas in the spring when they start feeding real heavy.
But mostly I've been fishing down in the brackish water. So if you just keep following that down, I like how the water, your picture is like, you can actually tell the river channel. But right
Well,
there,
it's all about finding that right map that shows you what you want to see. That's why I love the pro version. You can backdate it and just pick whatever map looks the best for you and just go with. This one's from 2019.
So that Chicken Creek right there, that's where we come out of the boat ramp right there. So these three, there's three convergence. There's a convergence right here, and you can actually tell the water, like you said, is going out. It's an outgoing tide.
Yeah,
and
it's
so you
going
got
out
the water
look
coming out
at
the
this
creek.
mud line.
Yeah.
Wow, look
Well,
at
it's
that mud.
actually, I think it's what it's representing is like salt, like the brackish water, and then fresh water meets that brackish water.
Yeah. Either way, it's still a mud line. You know,
right there where that
we kind of
right
have
there
that
where
going on too.
Yeah, right there where your cursor is a 60-foot hole right there because it churns right there.
You've got a mud line over deep water, and if you've got that deep a hole, that means you've got steep ledges around it, and you've got a confluence. That's a very, very similar situation to one of our spots that we call the honey hole. Very, very, very similar to what you've got going on here. Every time I would pass here, I'd be scanning around in that mud line, in that hole, especially on that upper part of the ledge where if you've got a steep spot where the hole comes out into some shallower water, right at the toe of that ledge, that's where I always find fish in our spots.
Yeah, I scan here every time I come out because, that's where we come out. I either got to choose to go upriver or downriver.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's really not much there. But I mean, there could be stuff there.
I bet you a lot of bait. I bet you a
Brian
lot of
knows
bait
exactly
falls
where that
up
honey
through
hole
there.
is at.
Probably.
In fact, that's where Big Wrench Catfishing caught his PB during Mike Greenwell's Veterans Tournament, is at that same honey hole that I'm talking about. That's where he
So if you go downriver, this is where it turns into brackish water.
Gotcha.
And right there where that boat is, I haven't tried this yet, and you can't really see it, but there's like it goes from 19 foot to 40 foot to 30. Like there's a big hole right there, right where it says Cooper River, where that boat is. And there's a lot. I noticed it today because it was out, or yesterday because it was an outgoing tide. Like it's very churny right there.
Which that makes sense to me because you're in an outside bend at that point. So naturally you're gonna find a little deeper water right through this area. But if you look really good, you look at your bank structure, you see how uneven this bank is. You've got cuts, you've got little creeks and bayous that come out of here.
Yeah.
Just that itself will set up that current to speed up, slow down, speed up, slow down. And that causes some very interesting stuff to happen on the bottom whenever you see stuff like that.
I need to try to fish it. If you keep going down, there's a lot of bends and curves.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this is a big, big, hard outside bend. You know you've got some deeper water around here.
It's actually like 30 foot. It's about the same as the rest of it. Because I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's harder bottom.
Well, and that could be. And what I'll say too, a lot of times when you do have a really deep hole in these hard outside bends, it makes more of a bulb on this backside. Like it'll actually kind of eat it out and throw some silt on that outside.
Yeah.
But it's got some in, and I don't know how fast the current ever gets in here.
Oh, it's fast.
Well, so I don't know if you're set up for it. I'd have a hard time not taking some type of a bumping rod and going through this area and going through. You know what I mean? But hey, in the fast current, that's a way to cover water.
Yeah. I somehow knew he was going to say that.
Well, yeah, of course.
There's a little cut right there that I cut through just because I got a pontoon. If you keep going south, there's a cut right there. You see somebody's taking advantage of it right there.
I see it.
See the boat to the right?
Yep, I see it. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, they cut
right
it off.
there.
Now,
Now you see right where it says Coming Tree Creek?
Yeah, I see that.
That's the 70-foot hole.
Well, and you see what I talked about, how it kind of makes a funny looking bulb on the outside bend. See how this one did? How it's scouring this out right here? That hole, if I had to guess, that hole has got to be probably right just like this right here.
Yeah, right in that area. And then you can take, this is an old map, but you can take those creeks and go way back yonder, way up in
Yeah.
there.
If the water's high enough, it
Actually,
lets you
that's
go.
that
All
where
right,
you're
John
going.
Boy.
The Congaree Creek, that's not even the main river anymore. So if you go to
Oh,
your left,
okay.
so actually the right where you got the cursor right there, go back.
Yeah. Right here.
No, keep going up, up to the right, to the right. Yeah, right there. That's the 70-foot hole right there.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
So
Because the main river is below where we just came from. That Cooper
Okay.
River that goes up. That's actually not the main river.
Okay.
So the
I got
main
you.
one
Yeah.
that goes out to the ocean goes back south. Yeah,
Got you. It kind of comes down here, and okay, I
yeah.
see it.
Eventually, you'll see right there. You see the barges right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I see them.
That's where I fish a lot on those barges.
Okay. Now, how big of barges do y'all see in that area?
I mean, they're I don't
2
know.
wide, 3 wide.
Well, no, they actually just take one at a time and go put
Okay.
garbage on them.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're
Like
not dealing
it's
with.
it's like scrap metal and stuff from the plant.
Okay. All right. I got you. It's not full barge traffic, but they're just pushing
No.
some back and forth.
Yeah, they park them right there,
I got
so
you.
they're tied up.
Oh.
Well,
And right
if
there,
they're there for any length of time.
yeah, that's why I fish them a lot. And to your left, right, you kind of see it. There's a tugboat right there.
Yep.
Me and Anna fish right there under that tugboat.
And if they're loading, if you're in an area where they're loading a lot of barges and they've constantly got that barge running, constantly creating some current, that's stirring some things up too.
Yep.
But if
Especially
you keep
boy,
going down about 3 more curves, that's where it turns into shark water. Right there,
okay.
you see right there to the left with that little
See you
cut.
later, John Boy.
Yep.
That's that's Bushy Park, and on the left side of the road is freshwater, and on the right side of the road is saltwater.
That's interesting.
Yep, because they don't connect.
Imagine that. Okay. So they've got this structure that's controlling that.
Yep,
Huh.
it's on the right side, and you see, I'd use this boat ramp a lot, but you see all that silt right there. It's
Yeah.
if it's low tide, you're not getting back in.
I got you. So you got to kind of watch when you get right there, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Have a good night, McWhiskers.
But that's shark water right there where that you see that fuel line coming out all the way from that plant. That's where me and my buddy Scott caught some bullheads right there, sharks right there under that plant.
Now, how? I mean, I guess we can look on here, but how far are you from the ocean at this point? You
If
can't
you
be
just
very
zoom
far.
out, you're about 2 miles.
Oh wow, you're at it.
Yep. So right there.
Oh yeah, Heck, It's funny. It's funny that y'all don't get the sharks coming way up in that brackish water like we do.
I mean, really, we could be like I told my dad about that fish that I missed yesterday, and the first thing he said was bull shark because of the way it ran, like it darted off and then it stopped and then it started off again.
Yeah.
We get blue crabs all the way up where I was showing you.
Mm-hmm.
Dolphins, manatee. I mean, they come way up river.
Yeah, I mean, y'all are getting saltwater species that we don't even get. I mean, y'all are right there close.
We get dolphin all the way up to Richmond, which is, like I said, it's 100 miles from 100 plus miles to the bay. And we got dolphin. Stan 3 and I had at Dutch Gap, we had one 20 feet from us.
Yep.
You know what other saltwater fish that we get here?
Sturgeon.
Oh,
we have Atlantic
that other S word.
Yeah, we get the Atlantic sturgeon that come up, and
my dad used to run trot lines in the Cooper River, and he caught a sturgeon on a trot line before.
That one section Creole where we were trying to go down from up from Hopewell, and sort of the straits there. That's actually they've been redoing the sturgeon breeding grounds there. They actually release them. They get them from the Atlantic and bring them up and release them there and hatch them there and etc. So that's
when we
in
were
the rebuilding stages.
when we were working up at that fish hatchery in Mammoth Spring, Arkansas, I actually got to hold a little baby sturgeon in my hand, just about 3 inches long.
Oh,
Oh, I know, right? It was so cute. What I was more interested in the 2 big loggerhead turtles they had in the tank next to them. I was way more interested in that. Guy scratching his head, like, why are you so interested in turtles? Like, because they're delicious. That's
you
why.
gonna say I like turtles.
I
Oh,
like
I like turtles.
mm-hmm. Well, like I said, tonight was all about just coming up, having a little fun, relaxing show, and it turned into yet another one of the Google Earth tutorials. Hey, go figure. Why not have some fun?
Now there's where a big opportunity though, where you take Google Earth, you find those spots that Creole was mentioning, and then you bring up your Navionics and you can
Yep.
find the little humps and holes and different little
Yep.
depth changes, et cetera, et cetera. You had a great guest on a few weeks ago, Creole, and what he was talking about, especially for a river like the James River, Adam Cook, it's not those big areas that everybody sees right away.
Yep.
It's maybe a 3-foot hump, or it's something that you see that other people don't, and that's the difference. That's that next level. That's going up to that
Look,
catching fish when other people don't.
when Adam came this past summer, he came and fished the Megabucks tournament in Vicksburg, and I don't normally spend any time in that stretch of river around Vicksburg. I need to because I'm fishing that tournament next year, so I kind of need to start going there. But it's Mississippi River, it's just upstream from where we are, and we talk some, and even though I fish the river all the time, just listening to him and how he was looking for fish, where he was finding them, and the patterns he was finding, I learned a lot from him about how to locate fish on my own river. But a professional tournament fisherman and tournament guide was teaching me things on my own river. So hey, it's all about learning new stuff. I love it.
And that's where Stan and Dan do so well together, is they both have mastered a little different techniques, little different things. Dan loves that shallow water, man. He can get in 4 foot of water and find 50, 60, 70 pound fish.
Yeah.
Stan 3 can do that too, but he kind of likes that little edge a little better off on the ledge, going down into the channel, kind of like them travel corridors. And so they can fish the same stretch of river and not fish the same exact spot. And both of them come out
to
there
me,
catching monsters. So
the thought of fishing 10 foot of water or less, just I can't even get that thought in my head. That's just not, that's just, I need to start, I guess, one of these days.
Dude, you just looked at
4 foot.
Yeah, that's.
I put it like this, every sonar has a shallow water alarm that you can set a certain depth. I think right now mine's like 6 foot. 6 or 7 foot.
Quick little story about shallow water. Kayak catfish Justin, he came to fish the kayak championships were on Lake Moultrie or or Santee Cooper, so 2 lakes.
Yeah.
And he came and he tried to do Tennessee River tactics on the lake and it didn't work. So we had this little corner in the hatchery, and it's dubbed Kayak Corner now. But he pulled the kayak up there and fished in 4 foot of water and won the championship sitting right there on the corner.
Wow.
In 2 days in 4 foot of water, because they come in there feeding. And he said he's never caught anything like that in shallow water. And literally you could walk out to your waist where he caught those fish from.
And I hear y'all, and I see the videos of a lot of guys like y'all doing this all the time, catching these fish in this ultra shallow water. And I think in our area, we just don't have that big of an area of shallows like what some others do. We've got some, but we always just go right on by and go.
It's also a lake too, Creole. You're fishing a river. Yeah. So lake situation, warmer water.
That's right.
They're actively feeding, going around looking. They don't have any current to deal with.
Yeah.
So you won't find them like that in a river. Like they'll be shallow, but shallow in the river is like 12 foot.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little different situation. But I've got some areas in the river that don't have any current because those particular dams are not running water. So that water's just sitting there. And it's
Right.
shallow because it's silted in. In fact, last time we fished that area, I knew it was pretty shallow, and I knew I couldn't let my boat come off a plane. So we just, skin her on back and just went through there. But an area like that, and it's loaded with shad because that's where we caught our bait. We drug a little bit and caught a few fish in there. Nothing big, but there you go. They were there. Just got to get out of your comfort zone every now and then, right?
They will the reason that they are up in, if they do go out of their comfort zone and go up into that 4 foot of water, they're there for a reason.
Just to eat.
They're not hanging out, right? That's your active fish. So when you can find those big fish up there, chances are you got a good shot at getting one of them because that's what they're up there for. They're up there feeding. So
my dad and I just talked about that tonight. I went over and visited him, and I was telling him about yesterday, and I told him, I said, I slept in a little bit, and he said, you missed the morning bite. I said, on the river, it's different. And we kind of disagreed on that. I said, the river, they're pretty much feeding anytime they get a chance. I said, on the lake, they're not going to go shallow. They're not going to go into those feeding zones until those morning or evening bites.
That's right.
I said, that's the difference. He said, no, I still believe. I said, okay, Dad. You're right. I love you.
Y'all, how many times have y'all watched me fish on camera? I don't really do that good before 8, sometimes 9 a.m. But as the day goes, my bite picks up. When the guys fishing the lake, their bite slows down. That's proof right there.
Now, Creole, that may be where in those it's so hot down there. That may be where they are in that early mornings up in there in that super shallow.
There you go. Go fish shallow in the morning.
They're not coming out to your deep water until that, so it starts heating up too much in there. I'm like you. I was old recently.
I found out recently if I would ever get back into fishing at night, I need to go shallow. That's where, because the guys that run trot lines around here and they leave them overnight, check them the next morning, they go on those sandbars where it's shallow. That's where
them
they catch
catfish
their fish.
Don't like that sun down there. I tell you what.
That's right. Hey, good look. You see, the catfish don't want the kunai, so they got to avoid all that. It's just how it is.
Until Stan and Dan, like I never would have thought of fishing that shallow. I was always, catfish are deep, catfish are deep, catfish are deep.
Catfish ain't no couillon. They know what to do.
Kevin, you are the only one that's still allowed to do that impression of me because I swear you do my voice better than I do my voice.
I know.
I really think you do.
I honestly, one night Kevin was doing it on his show, and I had it playing in the background, and I'm like, I didn't know Creole was up on Kevin's show tonight.
Yeah.
No, it was just Kevin.
He does. He knows this. He has like forever my permission to imitate me whenever he feels like it. I love it.
I did about 12 times yesterday when I was cutting bait. I said, "There's a nice fillet right there."
Oh yeah, and they're probably looking at you like, what is he doing that from? And I can't say fillet. That sounds too fancy. I can't. I can't force myself to say that. I just can't.
Fancy lips. Can't be no fancy lips.
Can't.
I tell you what, there's one technique that I haven't tried yet, and because I don't get to fish very often, I haven't tried it because I just want to catch fish. But Stan 3's comment just reminded me about it. I want to. There's a guy that used to fish a lot for YouTube, but he drug whole brim without a weight, and he just drug free line brim and drug him in like 2 feet of water. And he has this one video where you see in the background where the catfish just nails it
top water,
hitting the top water. I haven't tried it yet.
And you do that at night when it's dark out, and you hear it before your rod. It is the craziest because they're that shallow. They can't go down. They can only.
I've heard of people free lining it, but not dragging it free line. But like they free line for striper around here all the time. They just throw it in there and let the little blue herring swim down wherever. But I hadn't tried free lining brim yet.
I haven't free lined just yet because I know what would happen if I free line. That sucker would be in the Gulf of Mexico. By the time it would do it, it would just take it on down. It
Yeah,
just
it's
spooled
definitely
my reel.
like a lake tactic, or
Yeah,
or if you're up like by a dam or something where you got a
yeah.
controlled environment.
It was over the summer.
Fun though.
Over the summer, Dustin's boat doesn't have a trolling motor or anything like that, and anchoring up, just nothing. And so it was really hard to drift and drag and
Mhm.
things. So we were anchored, and I started freelining bluegill in the deeper water. But I'd cast them up above the boat, and just kind of keep a slack line on it and coming down. And we caught nothing. I started doing that. We caught 4 fish, bam, one after another, because the bait was moving. It was getting down in the right depths.
Yeah.
And it was the key thing is it was moving, and that's what the fish were looking for. So it's just another
last time I tried to use live brim, like where we fish at, and it was kind of during the spring when the water tends to be kind of fast. I mean, a big live brim. I'm talking bigger than my hand, man. This sucker was a good eater size. I hooked him through the bottom lip and the nose, big 3-way, about 12 ounces. I chunked him out in that fast current. I don't know, about 30, 45 minutes later, I said, well, let me pull in my lines and kind of readjust. I pulled that brim back in. He was still alive, but he did not have a scale left on him.
Yeah.
That fast current had just scaled him from head to toe. And I was like, ooh, wow.
Poor fella.
He was still alive. For 3 hours, I used that same big brim for bait, and we finally left that spot. I just turned him loose. I said, dude, you deserve this. You deserve it. Go ahead.
And then he immediately died when you let him go.
Probably something probably bit him.
What did I do to deserve this? What did I do?
That was wow. I almost felt bad, but I was like, nah.
Look, this is no lie. I even have it on some live stream somewhere. I caught a big hand-sized copperhead brim with a hole in its body behind the pectoral fin. No lie. I swear
That is awesome.
Jesus.
That is awesome.
And I used him for bait.
He's like,
not let him go because he survived the first time he was being used for bait. But I used him.
Oh, that is the most unlucky fish ever. I mean,
because I didn't necessarily catch a lot, so I needed bait. But
yeah, oh,
but he had a perfect hole like that right in his back.
Awesome. I mean, what
got off the
hook? or you never know, somebody might have had him and didn't get a bite and just threw him in there. You'll never know.
So there you go, guys. There's a lesson. If you're ready to go home, you still got live bait, and you can't keep it at home, let it go. It'll live.
Somebody else will catch it and try it again.
That's right.
Yeah. That is awesome. I love that. That is the best.
I gotta find that video and make a short about it.
I remember it, Kevin. I don't remember which one it was. I think
it was a live stream like last year or something where I caught it, and I was like,
yeah, right behind. It was a perfect divot gone.
We've said it so many times that if it wouldn't be for live YouTube, sometimes things happen and nobody will ever believe it.
Yeah.
Nobody. Look, if I would have went home that night and tried to tell my buddies or my dad or whatever, hey, we caught some sharks in the river, nobody would ever believe us. They said, oh, yeah, right. Hey, it's there.
Never swam in the river again.
I wasn't swimming in that river to begin with. Now for sure I ain't doing it.
It ain't the sharks for us, it's the gators that you worry about.
And you see, I think it's because of the fast
I got no problems.
current.
I'll swim in that river.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, show off the nub. But because of the fast current, we really don't see many gators in the main channel of the river, but you hear them like off in those little lakes, like off in the woods that the river floods. I forget what tournament we were fishing one day, it was Dad and I, and you could literally hear a massive gator bellowing like off in one of them lakes. And the people on the live stream could hear it. Like it was, I could feel it right here. He was a big one.
I think Catfish Bill has seen it all. When he first moved down here, I said, dude, you're gonna see sharks, you're gonna see dolphins, you're gonna see manatee, and he's been fishing with me enough that he's seen it all. And it's just people ask me why do I fish the river so much when there's it's easier to catch big ones in the lake. I love the variety,
Yeah.
and the difficulty of it. Like it's really hard. The only thing hard about the lake is the weather.
Yeah.
And if you're in there and there's 10-mile-per-hour winds, you're gonna have a rough day.
I remember that one video. I think it was you made a short that you posted of that wave broke over the deck of the front of your boat. And I was like, I got scared for you.
That happens all the time. Yep.
Wow. That.
Mm-hmm. That's why people get pontoons down here, because of that lake.
I got you.
And at the time when I got the pontoon, I was fishing the lake a lot. But now I'm a river nut. I'd rather fish the river than anything, and kind of wish I had a faster boat now. But
You'll be all right. You just got to plan ahead. That's all.
You know what? It's
That's
one
right.
of those things, though, Kevin. Whenever you get the other, then you're like, man, I wish I had that. All
I
that
need
extra
two.
space that I had on the pontoon.
Yeah, I need a river boat and a lake boat.
Because look, it doesn't. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't matter. If you get another boat that's faster, it doesn't matter. 2 weeks after that, it's going to be slow, and then you're gonna want something even faster. There's no end to that.
250 horsepower Suzuki's.
Yeah, just finish with it. Put you a 450 Verado in the back of your pontoon. You'll be good for like 90, 95. Be good to go.
It's already sitting too low because of all the batteries I got in it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna fix that. I'm almost done fundraising for my trailer. I'm getting a tri-tune trailer with a dual axle, and then I'll get the tune at the center log after that.
Yep.
And then I'll be styling and profiling right there.
Yeah. Then you'll be able to do something, and then you can go ahead and sell it to somebody, have them a good boat, and buy you another boat. Isn't that how that goes? Right when because it seems like cars are like that. Right when you get it, like it's almost a finished project, you ended up selling it to somebody else, and you start something else again. It's always how it works, right?
Now, if I put that into it, I'll keep it after that. But that 90 with that third log under it should push it pretty good.
Yeah, it'll keep it up a little more, and I could. Believe it or not, there's a lot of guys.
After that, I'll invest in lithium batteries, which will increase. My dad just showed me his brand new lithium batteries.
Kevin, if only you knew a battery guy.
I know.
I'm waiting on Interstate Batteries to start selling lithiums.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
And then a friend of ours could send me a one that's chipped or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. A blemished battery, I believe they call them, if I remember right.
Yeah, I need two 24-volt blemishes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Let's see. I mentioned Dustin before, and of course, you never noticed that. Like, it doesn't matter. You could mention with 3 minutes left, you mention somebody's name and they show up. So there's Dustin driving home from the bowling alley. David Smith.
Oh, bro.
Brian B is saying, Wedgie Master, be safe out there. And then David Smith said, yeah, Kevin, you'll miss sleeping out on the pontoon if you get rid of it.
Maybe.
I ain't sleeping out on that water. That ain't.
Come on, man.
Way too much stuff that can. No. I'm so. You know what? Look, okay. While you're on screen, I can make you laugh. Every now and then, I get kind of nostalgic, and I go back and I watch like old stuff that I was in. I ended up watching almost the entire original Iron Cat.
Oh Lord!
What's the matter with you?
A couple of days. I ended up. Well, I watched up until the point that I gave up. Like I didn't care. After that, I'm like,
the smartest one out of all of us.
What? And that's what I was laughing so much. I'm like, I cannot believe I did that to them guys. I was like, I don't got my net. I'm going to see y'all later. But I kept thinking to myself, I really don't want to stay all night out on this river. The stay awake part didn't bother me. It was like, I really don't want to be on this river all night. I just don't,
It's like, I'll take a 150 and I'm gone.
and after that, to this day, we still refer to that net as Kevin. Kevin is still on the boat with us, and Kevin has netted all my fish now. So from here on out, it's like, all right, get Kevin. Come on, we need Kevin. This is a big one.
Hallelujah.
There you go.
I was thinking about bringing back the Iron Cats next year.
Ooh.
for 2024 as part of the series, as part of the what did you call it? The live fishing tournament league.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, you go through these seasons as a YouTuber where you're like, I'm really good at this, but I would like to fish.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that season right now, I think, where I don't have the time to do what I want to do. So I have to start making decisions about what to do. And
Right.
I'm learning that I like doing what I want to do, and competing in a lot of live tournaments does not allow me to do what I want to do. That's kind of the stage I'm at right now. Because me, I'm ultra competitive. If I'm in a tournament, I am not there to have fun. I am there to win. And that I'm going to go where the fish are. So I won't take any chances. I won't go somewhere new. I won't go explore. I'm going, and that's where I get bottlenecked.
Well, that's my thing is like mine is the opposite of yours. It's like I don't have time to go fishing, but I could host a tournament over the weekend.
Yeah.
And because my thing is about preparation in my current situation. It's like
that's right.
I have to be able to prepare on Friday to go on Saturday. Yeah. And if I can't prepare on Friday, then Saturday's out.
I got you.
And I can't night fish because then I can't go to church Sunday. And so like I'm stuck. So I'm like, well, if I want content, then I could do these tournaments. So it's kind of like a catch-22 type thing. Like
it
you're
is.
talking about.
It is. And I'm starting to worry less about having to make content versus just because look, the YouTube thing is what it is. My channel is where it is, and that's just where it's going to be. And I'm perfectly okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why not just relax, do what I enjoy, and just let the hair go with the high. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
And Creole and I were talking about this the other night. We were kind of at the exact opposite. Like, well, that's why Stan 3 and I would riff a lot, is because I'm it's a fun tournament. It's YouTube. We're just having, he's like, but I want to win. And henceforth, you see a lot of second place finishes when I was involved. But now we've gotten a little more serious. And you see this year where we've won, starting with that couples tournament last year. And then we've won quite a few other ones. And the panfish, the palmetto, where I was right there, the 300, but had a blast doing that. But it's gotten more serious now, so now I've taken it where it's more serious instead of, but I don't know. And then it's like I enjoy reading the chat and doing all that kind of stuff and having fun with it too. So it's hard for me to get ultra competitive when I like the reading chat and the talking and being part of that part of it too. Just like there it was, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to talk because of the echo thing. Yeah, I know, right? During the veterans
number
tournament.
one.
Yeah, I know, right?
And I'm like, I'm biting the tongue because there's, people are saying stuff and there's stuff I want to reply back to it. And finally, I'm like, unmute. And then everybody, and then blah, blah, and then I mute back again.
You were doing an awesome job with that, by the way. You very it went great. I know at a certain point I had to kind of slow myself down a little bit in my mind and remind myself to stop looking at, let's say, another YouTube channel and saying, well, I'm doing what they're doing. Why am I not where they are? I let that get in my head for a while and it messed with me. And then finally I'm like, no, they are where they are because they're putting out more content than I am, or they're doing different. And they're not me, And finally I had to settle down, stop comparing myself to everybody else and be like, look, relax. Even if I could, I would probably never do this for a living because I'm just not that type of person. And relax, do what I like to do, and quit worrying about everything else,
Well, I Creole is right there with you. It's a pipe dream.
It is.
You start doing good and you're like, man, this is nice. I'm getting the attention. I'm making a little bit of money, this and that.
Yep.
And then I say God snaps you back in.
Yeah.
And, it's like, dude, okay, you had fun. This is your priority now. Well, God says I'm your priority. And then here's your
Yeah.
second priority. And here's your third.
Mhm.
And then this little thing that you like to do. And I'm not underselling it because I know people do make a living on it.
Yeah. That's right. That's
But,
right.
but it's like, your priorities don't allow you to go fishing and make content all the time. Now, when you retire, that's a different thing.
That's a different
And
thing.
so
I'm looking
that's
at it
kind of why I want to
more
keep the channel running, is so that
yeah, I'm like in a kind of I don't want to just let it go. I'm kind of in a maintenance mode. Look, I love doing the show on Tuesday nights. I don't ever want to give that up. I'm in a position where I don't have to go anywhere. I can do it easily. I'm here, no big deal. I like doing it. And I just had to stop for a second and remind myself of why I'm doing this.
right.
It's not for the attention. It's not for the YouTube tournament wins. It's not for, cups with my name on them and all. It ain't for that. I got into this because I wanted to represent my state, show what we have to offer the rest of the country, and just go out and catch big fish. And that's it now. That's it. That's what we do. And now it's gotten to where I've made so many friends doing this stuff. And that was a very unexpected part of me doing YouTube, was to make all these good friends that I've never shook hands with. I find a lot of times I'm going live for everyone else. Yeah. That's why we do it now. And there's Dad, having to grind this in. Thanks, Dad.
Hey, I got technically I got 9 years on payroll, and then I can decide what I want to do after that. I'm not saying that I'm done, but I'll have a little bit more leeway with my time.
Yeah, I've got my retirement plan pretty well figured out. As of right now, I can take off at noon the day of my funeral. That's the way I've got mine figured out right now. I can take off at lunch that day. Yeah, that's about how mine's gonna go.
But I imagine, and I told Anna this and other people, I was like, after this first year of the new jobs, I'll be able to kind of create more time in and out. But I do have a trip to Alaska this summer that you better believe you're going to have a big video about.
Oh, I like that. I imagine that'll be a big change. That's awesome.
Yeah, we were supposed to go last summer, but then Dad got cancer and had to have surgery and heart surgery, so we postponed it a year. But it's coming in June, and we're going halibut fishing, salmon fishing. We'll be flying out to a glacier, landing on it. Cool. One of those type deals. And
you got to do all the stuff that you do when you're in that area. You got to do the whole experience.
Definitely. My brother said, "Do I need to hire a photographer?" I was like, "What are you talking about? Do you not know what I do on the side?"
Well, yeah, photographer. You gotta be like, hang on, hang on a second.
I'll have 7 GoPros running all around us. Don't worry about that.
Oh, it's hilarious because most people, like in my local area, have no idea that I do all this YouTube thing, and it's some people that have known me for many, 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 many years. Like I'm talking 20 years. They don't know that I do this, and when I tell them, they're like, "Huh, you're on YouTube?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. I can't believe it either."
Imagine the 600 kids figuring out you're on YouTube. I think I probably got 100 subscribers from students.
I was gonna say your subs just went.
Oh, I know. See, Gabe will do that to me like at his because Gabe is a senior in high school. Okay, let's wrap our minds around that for a second. But I get some bleed over like from that, because let's face it, lately all the big fish pictures, it's him. It ain't me, it's him. He's the one reeling in all the big fish. So he's the star of the show. I mean, let's just face it now.
I mean, he is the better looking one. I mean,
I am not going to argue that. I'm not at all going to argue that.
You're like me, man. You've got that distinct gray going in, and our wives just can't stand it when they look at it.
Unlike Stan 3
mine's
and
got
I,
headphones in, so she can't respond.
Hey,
unlike
as
Stan
long
3 and
as
I,
I've
where
still got all this, I'm okay. That's all. That's all that concern. I don't care if it all turns Snow White. I don't care. I've still got it. That's all that matters.
Creole, that's like unlike Stan 3 and I, where I happen to be the better looking one out of that.
Hang on, wait, let me pick my feet up off the floor before they get dirty. It's getting deep in here.
Well, funny story with that one. Of course, Murillo and Lauren. You never know what Lauren's gonna say, so they fish stand day with us a lot. And me, I like to joke around with the kids, and I go to Lauren. So I'm the, out of the two stands, I'm the better looking one, right? And she goes, "Oh, what?
No.
Stand 3 is
Wow.
way better looking." You're the old one. He's the better looking
down
one.
to reality. Like right back down to reality.
Oh man,
Kids,
she wasted no time in that. I mean, just like bam, laid it right out there.
Hey, I am telling you that the secret to lush hair and this nice pigment that Creole and I have, and is that sunshine. You got to get out there. You got to get that vitamin C. You got to get it.
Yeah,
hair is overrated.
Until you stay sunburnt for a week straight and your skin peels every 3 days, then it's like,
don't worry about the skin cancer and all that.
I don't worry about
that's a
that.
Myth. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, very, very much so. I just figured I'm past the point of no return on that. So it's like, whatever.
Before my dad's hair turned white, he would get mistaken for a Mexican guy in the grocery store all the time because he was 5 shades darker than I am, jet black hair, mustache, and people would start talking Spanish to him, and he'd be like, "Boy, I don't know what you're talking about."
I can't say I've ever been mistaken for anything other than exactly what I am. When we were seniors in high school, went on a trip to Pensacola, Florida, and we did a little offshore fishing and stuff. My uncle had brought me out there, and a girl working at the Pensacola Walmart heard me talking. My accent was much thicker back then than it is now, believe it or not. She looked at me. She said, "You're from Avals Parish, Louisiana, aren't you?" I said, "How in the world do you?" I never left the state before at that point. I didn't know. And she's like, "Oh, I got family over there. I recognize the way y'all talk." I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't get away from it. I can't. There's no escape."
You were like, "Laissez le bon temps rouler." Oh my goodness.
I'm telling you, my accent was much like if you especially you get Laura kind of like going.
Laura's is way thicker than yours.
Well, I used to talk just like her. The only reason I don't talk that thick anymore is because I've worked in North Louisiana for most of my career, and North Louisiana is more of like what I call a redneck accent. Like they talk like Becca above like Alexandria North, right? I'm so used to that, and my coworkers could never understand what I was saying. So subconsciously, I started softening it, and all the training and stuff that I do, I tend to kind of go in that training mode and soften it a little bit, and just it stuck over the years. Now you put about a 6-pack in me, it comes back. Like it comes back. Big time.
That butt there now. That's cool.
Oh, it'll come back. And Laura's always picking on me about that. She's like, "You need to relax. You need to relax, and where your accent will come back." I'm like, "Yeah, that ship has sailed. Don't worry about it."
Well, when you two start not arguing, but like talking to each other, man. I get giddy. I'm like, "Yeah, talk more."
Yeah, it'll because I'll like forget, and then it'll like I forget that I'm on camera for a second. Like whenever that starts happening. And because she's doing it, now I'm doing it. Then every now and then the French word starts coming out, and that's really when it gets down to that. Yeah, we'll be doing more of that, whether it be at the house or out. There's gonna be a little more of that me and her back and forth thing because I kept telling her.
I think you guys could really give Stale Cracker a run for his money if you guys created a show like, an identity like that. Like y'all are the couple, the Power Louisiana couple cooking.
Yeah.
Because there's another guy out there that I can't take seriously. He says "baby" a lot, and he's on there cooking. And he's like he's trying to rip the guy off.
If you want to, I know he's got over 500,000 followers now on TikTok. Most people know who he is. But if you want to know someone from my area who's about as authentic and no character, no nothing as it gets, Cooking with Cajun. Kind of tall, skinny guy, white beard, always wears overalls with a white t-shirt underneath. Cooking with Cajun. He's got his famous saying is that cornbread. I ain't gonna say it on camera, but he's always talking. You follow him, and I'm not gonna say his real name on camera, but I know who he is. He lives in Arkansas, but just down the road from my house, right here in Naval's Parish. He cooks like we do. He does the things that we do. His accent is a little softer because he's lived in Arkansas for a long time, but he is the real deal coon-ass. I'll go ahead and say it. I don't care.
Let me ask you, what do you think about Bruce Mitchell?
Bruce Mitchell he's the real deal. He's not like all the stuff he does, all the stuff he's involved in. He is not exaggerating on any of that. He's really not. As far as a person, I don't know. I've never met him. I don't know what kind of guy he is, but I've heard that name before Swamp People ever came out, and he was heavily involved in a lot of the stuff that he talks about. So he's real. I'll say that. He's real.
The guy, I just pulled him up and it started talking. I can't. The guy that doesn't seem real to me. Dang it! He's got shorts. Hold on one second. I don't know how to mute. How do you mute a short?
I don't know. You got me. I don't know.
Let me see. Hold on. There we go.
A good friend of mine is actually going to be on some episodes of Swamp People, I think, this coming season.
His name is Ralph the Baker.
I don't know him.
Yeah, he seems really fake to me.
I ain't gonna lie. I haven't watched an episode of Swamp People in a couple of years. I'll be honest with you.
No, he's not Swamp People. He's not Swamp People. He's kind of like Stale Cracker, where he started cooking and making shorts and trying to get famous. Yeah. I think it sounds like he's trying to copy him.
There's a couple of guys that I follow
is an old one that I found.
Oh yeah. I was like, I got goosebumps just thinking about Justin Wilson. I remember watching that. My favorite and my dad's favorite. He was showing everybody how to boil shrimp, and he's got a big old can of tall boy of Tony's, right? So he takes a tablespoon, he dips it in there, and he throws it over his shoulder on the floor and just dumps the whole can in there. And he's like, that's just to say I didn't use the whole can. And he just throws it down. Like, that's my guy right there.
I've seen a few of his things, and I really like it.
Yeah. See, look, Curtis is
I know you don't like it.
Shelby, the superintendent at our company, Curtis, he lives not very far from where Shelby Stanga lives, and they know him. He's like famous in that town where he lives, and not for good reasons, but he is famous, and he is really like that. But I'm not going to say why, but that doesn't come naturally. I'm just going to leave it at that. Doesn't come naturally. But yeah, Curtis does know him, and he's like, "Oh, dude, don't even get me started on that guy." Well, guys, we had fun. This show ran way longer than I expected for just a little, playing around, doing nothing show. I had a lot of fun, especially talking with y'all too. It's been a while since I think, especially us three, have been on camera.
I know.
I can't remember the last time.
I appreciate you inviting me up.
Heck yeah! I mean,
I usually just watch the show and just sit back and listen.
Yeah,
or
that's what I do to everybody else's show. So yeah,
on the way I'm home, or on the way home from something.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I listen to a lot driving in the truck, and sometimes just sit back and take it all in. Oh yeah, I watch pretty much everybody's show like that.
But I'm on Thanksgiving break this week, whoop, whoop, so I can actually participate.
Hey, last question for the night. What has 2 thumbs and doesn't have to go back to work till Tuesday? This guy.
Oh, Monday.
Right here.
For me.
This guy.
Monday.
It's going to be awesome. I'm going to eat. I'm going to fish. We are going to go live after Thanksgiving, hopefully multiple times. But most importantly, we going fishing. We going fishing. We going after some fish. It's just simple as that.
Yeah.
Sometimes got to, man.
I was planning on going this whole week, but it started raining today and it never stopped.
Well, the rain's over with here for now. It brought a little bad weather with it, but we fared good. No,
We needed some rain.
Yeah.
Hopefully
We
after
needed rain
Thursday
here.
we good to go. Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
needed the rain too.
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, I
everybody in
appreciate
chat
inviting me up and
look, everybody in chat, thank y'all very, very much for putting up with me solo for one more night, and the guests and the conversations were great. I hope y'all enjoyed it too. We will see y'all next Tuesday on the show, same time, same channel. Bon péché, everybody. Y'all take it easy. And a happy Thanksgiving.
Bone Peaches.